The return of Sasha, a heartbreaking homecoming to Port Charles. The quiet streets of Port Charles are about to be shaken by devastating news that will forever change the lives of its residents. As Sasha Gilmore prepares to return with the most heartbreaking announcement the community has faced in years, a mother's flight to safety. Several weeks ago, Sasha Gilmore made the difficult decision to leave Port Charles with her infant daughter Daisy. After discovering that someone had been watching her precious baby, the realization that Daisy might be in danger due to her connections to the Corinthos family sent chills down Sasha's spine, prompting her immediate departure from the only home she had known for years. With Jason Morgan's help, she embarked on a journey to Paris, seeking refuge with her newly discovered father, Robert Scorpio, and her mother, Holly Sutton. The reunion with Robert had been bittersweet. After years of not knowing her true parentage, Sasha finally found herself in the arms of a father who welcomed her with open hearts and promises of protection. Robert's home became a sanctuary where Daisy could grow safely, away from the dangerous undercurrents that seemed to follow the Corinthos family wherever they went. For a brief moment, it seemed like Sasha had found the peace she desperately sought. The devastating discovery, however, their idyllic reunion was short-lived. Within weeks of settling into their new life together, Sasha began noticing subtle changes in Robert's behavior. The legendary spy, known for his sharp wit and boundless energy, seemed to tire more easily. His famous appetite dwindled, and there were moments when she caught him wincing in pain, though he always tried to hide it behind his characteristic charm and humor. When Robert finally collapsed one afternoon while playing with baby Daisy, the truth could no longer be hidden. The diagnosis came like a thunderbolt. Advanced cancer, aggressive and unforgiving. The same man who had survived countless dangerous missions, who had faced down international criminals and emerged victorious, was now fighting the most challenging battle of his life, one he was destined to lose. Robert, ever the protector, initially tried to shield Sasha from the severity of his condition. He spoke of treatment options and maintained his optimistic facade, but Sasha could see through his brave front. The father she had just found was slipping away, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. A difficult choice. As Robert's condition deteriorated rapidly, he made a request that tore at Sasha's heart. He wanted to spend his final days in peace, away from the prying eyes of Port Charles and the media attention that would inevitably follow his illness. He had lived his life in the spotlight, always the center of dramatic storylines, but he wanted his death to be private, dignified, and surrounded only by family. Sasha honored his wishes, becoming his primary caregiver alongside Holly. She watched her father fight with the same courage he had shown throughout his illustrious career. But this was one battle where bravery alone wouldn't be enough. The weeks that followed were filled with precious moments, Robert sharing stories of his adventures, teaching Daisy nursery rhymes in his distinctively charming voice, and ensuring Sasha understood just how proud he was to call her his daughter. The end came peacefully one morning, with Robert passing away in his sleep while Sasha held his hand and Daisy slept soundly in her crib nearby. The man who had lived such a vibrant, action-packed life left the world quietly, surrounded by the love he had finally found in his final chapter, the return to Port Charles. Now, with a heavy heart and a responsibility she never wanted, Sasha prepares to return to Port Charles. She knows the news of Robert's death will devastate the community that had loved him for decades. Characters like Anna Devane, who shared countless adventures with Robert, and Max Scorpio, who looked up to him as both colleague and friend, will be shattered by the loss. The decision to return isn't easy. Port Charles holds both beautiful memories and painful reminders of the life she left behind. But Sasha knows that Robert's friends and chosen family deserve to hear the news from her personally, and they deserve the chance to properly mourn the man who touched so many lives throughout his years in Port Charles. As her plane descends toward the familiar skyline, Sasha clutches Daisy closer, knowing that she's about to deliver news that will change everything. The baby, blissfully unaware of the gravity of the situation, represents hope and continuation, Robert's legacy living on in his granddaughter. The devastating announcement, Sasha's return to Port Charles, will be met with a mixture of joy and confusion. Friends like Maxie Jones and colleagues from her time at Deception will be thrilled to see her back, initially assuming she's returned because the danger has passed. But the sorrow in her eyes and the black dress she wears will quickly signal that something is terribly wrong. The announcement will likely come during a gathering at the Quartermain Mansion, or perhaps at the Metro Court, places where Robert's friends naturally congregate. With Daisy in her arms and tears streaming down her face, Sasha will deliver the words that nobody wants to hear. My father, Robert, he's gone. The silence that follows will be deafening. Anna Devane, the woman who shared so many adventures with Robert, will feel as though a part of her own heart has been ripped away. Mac Scorpio will struggle to comprehend that his larger-than-life colleague and friend has succumbed to an enemy they couldn't fight together. Holly Sutton, who chose to remain in Paris to handle Robert's affairs, will be mourned for in her absence, as people understand the impossible burden she and Sasha have carried alone. A community in mourning. The news of Robert's death will ripple through Port Charles like a stone thrown into still water. At General Hospital, where so many of Robert's adventures began and ended, staff members will pause in their duties to remember the charismatic agent who brought both chaos and joy to their lives. Dr. Monica Quartermain will recall Robert's numerous visits to the hospital, both as a patient recovering from dangerous missions and as a friend checking on loved ones. Sonny Corinthos, despite their complicated history, will respect Robert's memory and offer Sasha protection and support. The mob boss understands loss and the weight of carrying on when a patriarch passes away. He'll ensure that Sasha and Daisy have everything they need during this difficult transition. Even characters who clashed with Robert over the years will find themselves moved by his passing. His wit, his dedication to justice, and his unexpected moments of tenderness had a way of winning over even his harshest critics. The funeral, a final farewell. Robert's funeral will be a grand affair, befitting a man who lived such an extraordinary life. The ceremony will take place at a beautiful chapel in Port Charles, with friends, colleagues, and even former adversaries gathering to pay their respects. The WSB will likely send representatives, acknowledging Robert's years of service and sacrifice. Anna will deliver a eulogy that captures Robert's spirit, his courage, his humor, his loyalty, and his capacity for love. She'll speak of adventures they shared, of times he saved her life and times she saved his, and of the unbreakable bond they forged through years of facing danger together. Her voice will break as she describes how Robert finally found the family happiness he had always sought in his final months with Sasha and Daisy. Mac will share stories of Robert's mentorship, of how the older agent taught him not just the skills of law enforcement, but the importance of maintaining humanity in a job that often demanded they see the worst of people. He'll talk about Robert's infectious laughter and his ability to find light, even in the darkest situations. The service will be filled with tears, but also with celebration. Robert lived fully, loved deeply in his final chapter, and left behind a legacy that will continue through his granddaughter Daisy. A new chapter begins. As the funeral concludes and the community begins the process of healing, Sasha will face the challenge of rebuilding her life in Port Charles. She'll carry the weight of her father's legacy while trying to create a safe, stable environment for Daisy. The baby, who will never have memories of her grandfather, will grow up hearing stories of Robert's adventures and his love for his family. Sasha's decision to remain in Port Charles permanently will signal her commitment to honoring Robert's memory, while building new connections in the community that meant so much to him. She'll likely find support from unexpected sources and discover that the bonds forged in grief can become the foundation for lasting friendships. The storyline will serve as both an ending and a beginning, the end of Robert Scorpio's remarkable journey, but the beginning of Sasha and Daisy's new chapter in Port Charles, where they'll be surrounded by people who loved Robert and will help ensure his memory lives on. Through this devastating loss, Port Charles will once again demonstrate its remarkable ability to come together in times of sorrow, proving that even in fiction, the bonds of community and chosen family can help heal the deepest wounds. Next, we will delve into the escalating drama between Willow Tate and Drew Kane, where a charged confrontation promises pleas, vows, and lingering tensions that could reshape their futures. In the bustling corridors of Port Charles, anticipation builds for a pivotal moment between Willow Tate and her former flame, Drew Kane. This encounter, set to unfold in the August 12th episode, carries the weight of unresolved emotions and fractured trust. Drew, ever the determined ex-groom, appears ready to lay his heart bare, offering not just apologies but a renewed commitment to mend what's broken. Imagine this scene. Willow, still reeling from recent betrayals, crosses paths with Drew in a quiet corner of the hospital, her expression a mix of wariness and resolve. Drew seizes the moment, his eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that speaks volumes about his unwillingness to let go. This isn't just a casual run-in, it's a calculated opportunity for Drew to address the elephant in the room, drawing on their shared history to appeal to Willow's softer side. Adding to the intrigue, whispers around town suggest Drew has been reflecting deeply on his past mistakes, perhaps even consulting with close allies to refine his approach, ensuring his words hit home with sincerity rather than desperation. Elizabeth Baldwin's role in this unfolding saga adds another layer of complexity. As a trusted confidant, she recently pulled Drew aside, urging him to respect Willow's need for breathing room amid the chaos. Elizabeth, drawing from her own experiences with heartbreak and recovery, emphasized that healing isn't rushed, it's a process that demands patience. Willow, now armed with the full truth about Drew's questionable actions, including his entanglements that painted him as less than honorable, has reached a turning point. No longer the naive partner who once deferred to Drew's every opinion, she's embracing her independence with fierce determination. Picture Willow in quiet moments of reflection, journaling her thoughts or seeking solace in nature walks around the Quartermain estate, fortifying her resolve against further manipulation. The days of blind faith in Drew are firmly behind her. His string of broken promises has eroded that foundation, leaving Willow wiser and more guarded. Yet, in a fresh twist, sources hint that Willow might be exploring therapy sessions to process her emotions, a proactive step that underscores her commitment to self-growth and making choices that prioritize her well-being over fleeting reconciliations. Despite the barriers, Drew's enthusiasm for this unexpected meeting shines through. In the episode, he'll approach Willow with a mix of humility and hope, eager to unburden his soul. Expect Drew to pour out declarations of undying affection, perhaps reminiscing about their happiest times like stolen picnics by the lake, or late-night conversations that once strengthened their bond. To rekindle that spark, he'll likely downplay his involvement with Nina Reeves, insisting it was a momentary lapse with no real significance, framing it as a regrettable detour rather than a defining betrayal. To sweeten his pitch, Drew could weave in tales of personal growth, maybe mentioning how he's been volunteering at local charities or diving into self-help books to become a better version of himself. He envisions a future where they overcome the odds, positioning himself as the steadfast partner Willow deserves. This plea isn't superficial, it's laced with promises of transformation, including subtle nods to ambitious plans he's hatching behind the scenes, such as leveraging his business acumen to support Willow in reclaiming custody of her children. Inventing a new element here, perhaps Drew alludes to confidential meetings with legal experts or even potential alliances with influential figures in Port Charles to bolster her case, painting a picture of redemption through action rather than mere words. However, Willow's skepticism runs deep, and for good reason. Drew's track record of unfulfilled vows has left her questioning every assurance. As he presses for another shot, she might counter with pointed reminders of his past failures, her voice steady but edged with pain. Why should this attempt differ from the others? Willow could stand firm, declaring that their romantic chapter is closed, perhaps even suggesting they maintain a cordial distance for the sake of mutual acquaintances. But Drew, characterized by his relentless persistence, won't back down easily. His refusal to accept defeat might lead him down a more cunning path, employing subtle strategies like enlisting intermediaries or orchestrating accidental encounters to wear down her defenses. In an inventive addition, rumors swirl that Drew could turn to technology, such as anonymous messages or shared digital memories, to subtly remind Willow of their connection without direct confrontation, blurring the lines between persistence and overreach. This dynamic highlights the soap's theme of love's complexities, where determination can tip into obsession, keeping viewers on the edge of their seats. The ripple effects of this encounter extend beyond the duo, as Willow seeks out Elizabeth for a debrief. In upcoming scenes, Willow will share the details of Drew's latest overtures, allowing Elizabeth to offer her seasoned perspective. Elizabeth, with her history of navigating romantic minefields, might advise Willow on setting firmer boundaries or exploring new horizons, perhaps encouraging her to focus on family ties or emerging interests like community advocacy. This conversation could reveal more about Willow's inner turmoil, including invented details such as her considering a temporary relocation to clear her head, or confiding in other characters like Michael Corinthos for additional support. Ultimately, these developments underscore the ongoing saga's core. Trust once shattered is hard to rebuild, and Willow's journey toward empowerment promises more twists ahead in the world of General Hospital. As the story progresses, fans can anticipate how Drew's unyielding pursuit influences the broader Port Charles landscape, potentially drawing in other key players like Nina or the Quartermains. Next, we will uncover the sizzling undercurrents in Port Charles, where Ava Jerem's faltering bond with Rick Lansing explodes into a passionate detour with Cody Bell, fueled by hidden agendas and unexpected sparks that could ignite chaos for everyone involved. In the heart of Port Charles, where secrets bubble like a cauldron ready to overflow, this week's episodes of ABC General Hospital promise a whirlwind of romantic upheaval, centered on Ava Jerome. Her once promising connection with Rick Lansing is fracturing under the weight of jealousy and betrayal, culminating in a scorching kiss with the enigmatic Cody Bell that has viewers buzzing with excitement. It all kicks off when Ava stumbles upon Rick in a compromising moment with his former flame, Elizabeth Baldwin, sending shockwaves through her already turbulent emotions. In a fit of rage and defiance, Ava fires off a message to Cody, setting the stage for their electrifying encounter on Thursday's show. But there's more at play here. Christina Corinthos Davis has masterminded a cunning plot, secretly compensating Cody to lure Ava into this trap, all in a bid to shatter the blackmail grip that Ava and Rick hold over Alexis Davis. Imagine the tension. Ava, clad in her signature sleek attire, meeting Cody under the dim lights of a secluded spot, their lips meeting in a moment that's equal parts vengeance and vulnerability. To add a fresh layer, whispers from the set suggest Ava might have been nursing a quiet fascination with Cody's rugged charm for weeks, perhaps from observing him at local events, making this kiss feel less like a rebound and more like destiny's playful nudge. As the drama unfolds, the big question looms: will this impulsive liaison spark a true romance? Or will it dismantle Christina's carefully laid scheme, leaving a trail of exposed lies in its wake? Diving deeper into Ava's bold retaliation, her world tilts after witnessing Rick's flirtatious reunion with Elizabeth, a sight that strikes at the core of her insecurities and propels her straight into Cody's arms for that headline-grabbing smooch. Fans are reeling from the intensity, debating whether this is merely a power play or the start of something profound. Christina's covert operation adds a perilous edge, with her doling out cash to Cody in shadowy exchanges, perhaps in the back alleys of the Harbor District, to seduce Ava and erode the united front she shares with Rick in their extortion scheme against Alexis. Ava, blissfully ignorant of being the pawn in Christina's vendetta, views Cody as her ticket to reclaiming control, channeling her inner fire to turn the tables on Rick. Yet, there's a vulnerability beneath her tough exterior. She might confide in Cody about past heartaches, like her complicated history with other Port Charles men, drawing him in further. Inventing a new twist, Cody could surprise Ava with a small, thoughtful gesture during their meeting, such as bringing her favorite vintage wine, hinting at a genuine interest that transcends the paycheck. This revenge-fueled escapade risks spectacular failure, especially if Ava's growing affection blinds her to the manipulation. But early signs point to Cody reciprocating her allure, suggesting their connection might evolve beyond the scripted deception into uncharted romantic territory. As Cody navigates this high-stakes charade, the consequences threaten to spill over in unpredictable ways. Embracing his role, he finds himself increasingly captivated by Ava's magnetic presence, their interactions charged with a chemistry that simmers from flirtatious banter to stolen glances. Across crowded rooms, what started as a straightforward assignment seduce and distract becomes complicated as Cody grapples with genuine feelings, his initial reluctance melting under Ava's sophisticated allure. He's not just in it for the financial incentive. Her sharp wit and resilient spirit keep him hooked, perhaps reminding him of his own nomadic past filled with rodeo adventures and family secrets. However, the pressure mounts as Cody treads a fine line, risking exposure if he lets his guard down and indulges in Ava's emerging emotions, which could deepen into something real, tied to Christina's overarching plot, which stems from her reckless act of tampering with breaks that endangered Rick and Elizabeth. Any misstep could unravel the entire web. Adding an inventive element, Cody might start keeping a private journal of his conflicted thoughts, torn between loyalty to Christina and the thrill of Ava's company, heightening the internal drama. Meanwhile, concerns brew that Molly Lansing Davis, with her keen investigative instincts honed from legal battles, will sniff out Cody's ulterior motives, especially if she overhears suspicious conversations or notices his sudden absences. Keeping this fling under wraps proves challenging, given Ava's penchant for bold, public displays of affection. She's the type to parade her conquests at high society galas, refusing to let Cody slip away without a dramatic showdown. The intensity between Ava and Cody escalates, raising the bar for what's at stake in this tangled narrative on ABC General Hospital. Their budding attraction could either fizzle out amid revelations or erupt into a full-blown affair, potentially derailing Christina's calculated efforts to safeguard her family. The pivotal scene where Christina witnesses Ava sensually applying ice to Cody's chest by the poolside sends ripples of disgust through her, forcing her to confront the monster she's unleashed without endangering her own position or Cody's involvement. How will she shield her sister Molly from the fallout, especially if the scheme's ties to the break incident come to light? In a creative expansion, Christina might resort to anonymous tips or fabricated distractions to steer attention away, all while watching Ava and Cody's sparks fly during impromptu dates at hidden bistros. The possibility of authentic love blooming between the scheming Cody and the fiery Ava adds delicious irony, as Christina's manipulations might inadvertently forge a bond that withstands the deceit. Yet, her interference could poison any budding honesty, turning potential romance into resentment. Viewers are left pondering the trajectories. Could Cody and Ava defy the odds and build something lasting? Or will Molly's suspicions ignite a confrontation that exposes everything? As Port Charles simmers with these developments, the interplay of desire, deception, and danger keeps the soap's pulse racing, promising more revelations that could redefine alliances and shatter illusions. Stay engaged with ABC General Hospital as these storylines twist and turn, where every kiss and secret could lead to explosive confrontations or surprising unions. What are your predictions for Ava and Cody's future? And how might Molly factor into the chaos?